After the Green Bay Packers bested the Pittsburgh Steelers 35-25, there is no doubt the game was overshadowed by quarterback Aaron Rodgers taking on his longtime former team. However, a player who had a standout game was Packers star Micah Parsons, getting immense pressure on Rodgers throughout the game, though he gave the quarterback his flowers after the win. As Parsons sacked Rodgers once, the team's defensive line would do enough to rattle Rodgers and Pittsburgh, as they only converted on one third-down situation in 10 tries. Still, Parsons would say that Rodgers is a GOAT next to former quarterback Tom Brady, according to ESPN. That's why he's the GOAT, Parsons said of Rodgers. He's one of 5 quarterbacks in the league where you say he's one of the greatest of all time. He's on that GOAT list next to Tom Brady, under Brady, and there's only a select few guys that you're going to put right there with him. That's why he is who he is, and that's why he's still able to play at a high level. Despite Rodgers being disappointed with the loss and how he played, he noted that it was a good feeling to see people within the Green Bay organization after the past several seasons. Good to see a lot of people that I grew up with in the league, Rodgers said. I was out there spending time with some of those guys, and I enjoyed that. The Packers' main goal was to make Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable. While the offensive side of the ball saw Packers star Jordan Love best Rodgers, there is no denying the defensive game plan was executed well enough to stall the Steelers towards the end of the game. Green Bay did a fine job of not giving Rodgers a lot of time in the pocket, as it was noted by Rashawn Gary. Going into the game, that was one of our goals, just trying to make it hard for him to see his reads, make him move around a lot in the pocket, Gary said. He's a Hall of Famer. If you give him time in the pocket to pat the ball, he's going to give his playmakers an opportunity to make plays. At any rate, the Packers are now at a 5-1-1 record as they look for 4 straight wins next Sunday when they face the Carolina Panthers, off a loss to the Buffalo Bills. As the midpoint of the Pittsburgh Steelers season approaches, the defense is ranked number 30 in total yardage and last against the pass. The Steelers have yielded 30 points in back-to-back weeks and 4 times in 7 games. For the first time since early in the 2019 season, the defense allowed more than 400 yards per game in consecutive weeks. Yet, Coach Mike Tomlin is planning no changes in defensive play calling, and he continues to support fourth-year defensive coordinator Teryl Austin. That's not on the table as we sit here today, Tomlin said Tuesday at his weekly news conference when asked about any potential changes. We've got to keep doing what we're doing and do it better. The Steelers are coming off a 35-25 loss against Green Bay in which the defense allowed 289 yards and 28 points after halftime and 454 yards overall. That was a slight improvement from the previous week when the Steelers yielded 470 yards in a 33-31 loss at Cincinnati to a team riding a 4-game losing streak. The consecutive losses dropped the Steelers' record to 4-3, which remains good enough to keep them in first place in a mediocre AFC North. Awaiting them Sunday are the Indianapolis Colts, who at 7-1 have the NFL's best record. The Colts also lead the league in scoring and total offense. 7 games don't make a season, Tomlin said. We've got more in front of us, more opportunities to write our story. The stretch of defensive play is the worst since the first 3 weeks of the 2019 season when the Steelers gave up more than 400 yards to New England, Seattle, and San Francisco en route to a 0-3 start. Austin had just joined the Steelers that season as a senior defensive assistant and secondary coach. He was promoted to defensive coordinator after the 2021 season when Keith Butler retired. The Steelers were a top 10 defense in points allowed in Austin's first 3 seasons as defensive coordinator. They rank number 22 this year. In terms of total yardage, the Steelers ranked numbers 13, 21, and 12, respectively, before descending to number 30 this year. I've known Teryl a long time, Tomlin said. He's very capable. He's very thorough. I've largely been pleased with his work, but certainly he and I are not pleased with where we are right now from a defensive unit perspective. We're going to keep working. The Steelers beefed up their secondary in the offseason by adding Darius Slay in free agency and trading for Jalen Ramsey, both former All-Pro players. Brandon Eccles and safety Juan Thornhill also were signed in free agency, and backup safeties Chuck Clark and Jabril Peppers were brought in early in training camp and before the second game of the season, respectively. Despite having the NFL's highest-paid defense, the Steelers continue to struggle, particularly in defending the pass. They dropped to last in the league after Green Bay's Jordan Love carved up the Steelers for 360 passing yards, completing 20 attempts in a row to open the second half. That included third down completions of 59 and 33 yards in the third quarter that led to touchdowns. Defensive captain Cameron Hayward said the Steelers didn't handle adversity well in the second half. "I certainly agree with that," Tomlin said. "I don't like how we responded to explosion plays, field-flipping plays, drive-producing third-down conversions that happened in the third quarter. You don't always have control over what happens to you in a game. Rest assured, some things are going to happen. There is ebb and flow over the course of 60 minutes. In that instance, as a collective, we feel we didn't respond in an appropriate or desired way. We didn't smile in the face of it and didn't produce the type of play that counteracts that and swings the balance back in our favor." Reminded that his defense is littered with veterans, it features just one rookie and one second-year starter, Tomlin responded, "I'm sure our kids should do what we tell them to do, but they often don't. We all fall short of perfection. That is why we're always working as individuals or as a collection." Hayward and third-year cornerback Joey Porter Jr. also questioned the Steelers' fight, or lack thereof, in the second half. Tomlin, though, wasn't critical of his team's effort, just the execution. "I'm talking about fight in terms of playmaking," he said. "You don't get credit for trying hard. We're not in the try-hard business. Our fight is about production and producing, and we certainly didn't produce enough plays over the last 30 minutes of the game in any of the phases to secure victory." The November 4th NFL trade deadline is approaching quickly, and the Pittsburgh Steelers rumors are flying. Yet, after suffering back-to-back losses, the Steelers are ready to make changes to their roster right now. On Tuesday, the Steelers worked out a number of safeties, including Darrick, Forrest, Von Bell, and former All-Pro Eddie Jackson. While Jackson, also a two-time Pro Bowler, has earned the most accolades in the NFL, it doesn't mean the Steelers viewed the 31-year-old as the best player right now. After all, there's a reason he's still available in late October. Evidently, with the Steelers searching for more safety depth, they've opted to sign Forrest to their practice squad instead. Joining the practice squad gives him some time to get up to full speed in Coach Mike Tomlin's defense, but it's possible the Steelers will be forced to spring him into action right away after Deshaun Elliott's injury on Sunday. Forrest brings 40 games, 17 starts, to Pittsburgh. The 26-year-old former fifth-round pick has spent his entire four-year career with the Washington Commanders, where he recorded 137 tackles and 4 interceptions. Yet, both the Buffalo Bills and Indianapolis Colts added Forrest to their roster this year, only to later be released before making any appearances. Now he'll get another chance, with a team hoping to get their season back on track, and Forrest may be just what Pittsburgh needs. For now, anyway.